Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cyndy. Thank you so very much for being here. My new subscribers, there's been quite a few of you, so welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy the Soulprint community. Kind of a bunch of things I want to just hit on really fast before I get on with the mini. The mini I'm doing is going to be about what's going on behind the scenes at the Rnc convention. But before I get there, a couple things. For those of you who are just still feeling really anxious and really concerned that things are not going to go the right way, I would like to refer you to a YouTube channel called Professional Aquarium. Now, for those of you who are with me like last week, the week before, anyways, Kathy was here and she did a very extensive sort of reading about Trump's energies and what's going on and, when the horseshoe's falling out of his butt and his luck stops. But she has a video that went out like a couple days ago. And it's reading political energies. And she has a gentleman on named Andy. Andy reads energy. I mean, it sounds like he is very, he does astrology, he does all kinds of stuff. But he was reading the energy. Now, this is someone who actually predicted Trump's win in 2016. He is adamant that, Biden's going to win. And he has a whole bunch of reasons why it is energetically and just logically. If you're still needing some reassurance, I really encourage you to go check it out. It's like not quite an hour long video, but there's a lot in there that's just going to give you some reassurance. Okay. I think I'm becoming Kathy's number one, cheering squad out here. But some of the stuff that comes out on her Professional Aquarian channel is really worth taking a peek at. That's one. Two, there has been some chatter. Now, I'm recording this on Wednesday morning, but there has been some chatter about the sheriff's office in Butler coming out and saying that, Trump was not hit by a bullet, he was hit by glass, but when I tried to find that, through a legitimate news source, whatever I tried, I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm not saying it is or isn't true, but I am saying let's be cautious that we just don't kind of repeat everything because play to, our thoughts or our desires. It's interesting to me that a lot of us talked about Trump being in danger in July. We talked about a health issue. And so now he's had one and everybody's going, well, okay, but when is the serious one going to happen? It's like, that's not sort of how it works, okay? There are reasons why things unfold the way they unfold. And it's important that as things unfold, we do our job. And our job is not to get all wound up and excited and nervous and anxious. Our job is to stay calm, stay in the light, and focus on what we are manifesting. And what we are manifesting is very simply a second term for Joe Biden's presidency as a result of the 2024 election. It's just that simple. All right. All the other stuff that goes on is not, it's just not worth making yourself nuts over. You have to look at the big picture, because the big picture is where you're going to sort of find sort of the reassurance. Okay. When we start getting down into the nitty gritty details, it's really easy to get distracted and kind of lose sight of it. It's funny because they're showing me a really funny picture. They're talking about, the bride, right? The bride who gets so crazy when she's planning her wedding that she goes nuts over, which shade of lavender slash Violet, the napkins at the reception should be. And it's like she carries on as if her entire life is going to crash if the wrong decision is made. That's what happens when you get into the nitty gritty details and you over focus on them. Whatever is going to happen to Trump, even if he makes, and listen, you know what? I've said I'm not seeing him getting all the way to the election, but honestly, it would be a really good thing if he did, because he's not going to win, and it will be a definitive loss. And that's something we should sort of think about. Now, J.D. Vance as his vice president. Listen, Elon Musk has said he's going to commit $45 million a month until the election to one of Trump's PACs, because that's what he wants. There's a lot of very rich people who, and we know this, right? They're pushing money at Trump. They want him to win. They want his agenda. They want his tax cuts. That's why Vance was put in that position. Vance had some very powerful and rich sponsors, people sponsoring him. It was a money transaction. And why are we surprised? We know that every damn decision Trump makes is transactional. In fact, if you haven't seen it yet, the latest marketing deal is that Trump is now selling for $299, mind you, sneakers that have a picture of him, with the blood on his face and like this, with the tagline underneath along the sort of the bottom that says fight, fight, fight. It's transactional. Just let it be. Let it go. Focus your energy where your energy needs to be focused. The final thing I want to talk about is apparently Merrick Garland has taken over the investigation pertaining to the event at Butler. Now, Merrick Garland is the one who handled the Oklahoma bombing. I guess investigation and court situation there. It's a long time ago, but it resonates to this day. I mean, if all you have to say is Oklahoma bombing and everybody knows what you're talking about. So he's taken over. So he's now on top of the FBI and the whoever else and the ATF and all of it. He's overseeing all of it. And I think that that's a really good thing, and just for a couple reasons. One, he's sending out a message that the Department of Justice is taking this seriously. You just can't go around shooting people, and particularly in a political environment. Someone died. Other people were injured. And apparently Trump has not reached out to any of them. But again, does that surprise anybody? It does not. Okay? So that, as far as I'm concerned, that investigation I think is going to be it's going to be better served with Merrick Garland overseeing it and stepping in. Okay. Now, there was a lot of chatter talking about how crazy the RNC was going to get and the convention and everything that's going on. Now, apparently, we're not seeing a lot of it. I guess there was a bit of a snappy conversation, I guess, between Matt Gaetz and, oh my good God, what is his name? The guy that Gaetz got bumped out of the speakers, McCarthy. On the floor, okay? Apparently, there are a lot of people who are really upset about the J.D. Vance nomination for VP. Rudy Giuliani was there yesterday and tripped over, I don't know, air, but fell his butt down on the floor, which, maybe it was symbolic of the fact that the bankruptcy has been approved to go forward so that people can get the money that he owes them for, that he just owes them, whether it is Moss or it is, creditors. So maybe he fell on his ass for a reason. I'm going to just step into the energy of what's going on behind the scenes at the RNC and see what we can see. Okay. The electors, okay, the people who are on the floor with their sign saying Trump, 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 and they represent areas, right? They represent their state or however that gets broken down, the area within their state. How I'm not sure how it works. I'm Canadian, I know so much about US politics already, but there's just some things I'm not going to get into the weeds on. In any case, the electorates, the ones who are there on the floor, they are enthusiastic, they are excited, they are raring to go ahead. And why is that? Because they're swallowing every insane statement that is coming out of the people who are on the stage out of their mouth. They're not using any sort of thought process. They're not being they're not analyzing what they're hearing. They're not even being selective about what they're just taking in. They're just absorbing it as the gospel truth. There is also that element that, God's hand stepped in to save Trump on Saturday. But it's really interesting because the statement that Trump made was, I was either really lucky or God was there, or something to that effect, right? So even he is putting luck before God, but of course all these people are convinced that God knows the second coming. Um, so on the floor, that's what that energy is, all right? And even on the floor, it's subdued. It's not um I think maybe it's not as big as it has been at past conventions. And I think part of it is that kind of rolling along, like kind of fog on the ground, is sort of this realization of what would have happened had something more serious happened to Trump. Where would the Republican Party have gone? And it seems to have sobered some of them. But as I said, on the floor, the energy is excited. People are buying into it. There is no thought of looking through the lens of reality. Okay. This is about being completely subjective. They're hearing what they want to hear. They completely absorb it. That's that. What's going on behind the scenes, however, holy Lord, there is tension. Like there's fights going on and there's tension. It's like you could cut it with a knife. Um, it, Trump is, for whatever happened and however he's reacting to it, he's not in great shape. Energetically, if you saw the video I did yesterday, right, on Wednesday, that came out Wednesday, that was just taking a quick peek at his energy, he is still really, really low energy. He doesn't have the sort of the force and the vibrancy that we're kind of used to seeing from him. Although, to be fair, that energy has been sliding slowly downward, but it really seems to have taken a nosedive after Saturday. So he is still very, very low energy. And honestly, it's like he's a little dazed and a little confused. And I'm not going to try to figure out what to attribute that to. Frankly, whole crap load of stuff that could be attributed to, including the fact that apparently new polling is showing that he didn't actually even get a bump in his ratings as a result of what happened on Saturday. And I mean, think about it. If you're a rational Republican, maybe you start to think like, holy crap, this guy takes violence wherever he goes, and his people of his own party are starting to go after him. Maybe he's not the safest choice. Just saying. That's going on. The movers and shakers, there's a lot of power playing going on, a lot of I can bring this to the fold if I have connections to that. if I'm sort of promised whatever it is, you know, a, a, a place in the White House, um, or perhaps um, decisions that are made that really support the expansion of my business. Ha, ha, oil. Or perhaps the tax cuts that you are promising you're going to bring me, even though you brought me some last time. Well, let's just keep on bringing them. So there's a lot of that going on. Um, and I have to say, there are a lot of people, and this is behind the scenes, who, even though they understand the logistics and the maneuvering of why Vance was nominated as VP, they're not happy about it. They are not happy about it. And there are some of them who have to actually get up on a stage and go, oh, isn't this the most amazing thing in the world? There is a lot of tension and friction and frustration going on behind the scenes. And Trump, by and large, does not appear to be helping in any way, shape, or form. In fact, he seems to still be in that kind of, "Hmm, I would like to sleep. I would like to rest. I'm really confused. Does anybody know what the hell's going on around here?" It's like that kind of energy. He just is not, there's no vibrancy as I read that energy of his. There's just not. Um, Again, more shook up than he is absolutely letting on. His family has sort of rallied behind him, right? I mean, there were some pictures of him yesterday sitting with JD Vance, and behind him was, Don Jr. and Eric and whoever. But just at the side where she was still in the frame of the camera was Marjorie Taylor Greene, radiating smiles and goodwill and good cheer. And it was like, wow, she really could be a contender for a Oscar, okay? Because that is not what was going on internally with her. But she is, again, one of those people who, for all of it, knows how to play the game, okay? She still has hope. Carrie Lake got up, and so much for turning down the rhetoric went right back to it. In fact, apparently a number of speakers went right back to it, to that rhetoric. So there is no attempt to dial down the rhetoric and try to take this to a place where there's at least some rational adults running around. On the outside, they're going to say things like, wow, what an amazing convention, the best we've ever been to. We are completely united behind Trump. He's our guy. Behind the scenes, it's a very, very different story. There are a whole bunch of people who aren't real happy about it being Trump. And, just because they were supporting somebody else, and that somebody else didn't end up getting the nomination, it doesn't mean they just go into excited mode about who got the nomination. So whatever you're hearing that they're saying on the outside, recognize that it is a facade, and recognize that you do not take it seriously. You do not absorb the nonsense about how strong they are and how they're going to, win and they're going to obliterate the Dems. Don't take it in, because this is like the biggest circus show in town right now. Okay, that's what it is. And I really, really want everybody to just sort of take a step back and pull away from the information, that whatever it is that's getting you really agitated and upset and anxious. And remember, please, to look at the big picture. All right. Um, once this convention is over and the Republican Party sort of starts to settle down, I guess, there's your there's going to continue to be this sort of real division. Um, and that's going to follow them from now until the election and frankly post-election. Okay. So this is where we're at right now. And you're going to focus on the amazing things that Biden is doing, the fact that he's getting some really good press out there, the fact that he's doing quite well in the polls. He's either ahead or moving up. That's what you're going to focus on. And you're going to focus on what you actually want to make manifest. And that is his second term. All right. Do not forget to put your questions down in the comment section below. I imagine there may very well be many questions about, is this true about what happened on Saturday, or did this actually happen on Saturday? So let's send the amazing Joyce sort of a flash of some really good energy, because she's the one who's going to need to wade through those. And that's what I know for right now. So I'm hoping that the rest, that you all have a really good rest of the day, and that you take some time to clear your head and step away from the insanity. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow during Pendulum Friday. Until then, take care and be well. Bye-bye.